Ajnana. Haribol. Haribol. Ajnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Kadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Panchakalpatarubhyascha Vasindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Mavadivicha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Nityananda Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Jannavapataye Namaha Ajanalambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanaya Kapitaro Kamalaya Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karunavatar Kanakajaladagatro Nilashonab Janetro Mrigamadavabala Malatikundamala Tarala Tarunavesha Nilapitam Vasmi Tvayvasmi Najivamitvayavina Itivike Radhe Tvam Naimam Charanantike Tavakara Kamalavarena Kamadbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Sri Nrisimha Jaya Nrisimha Jaya Jaya Nrisimha Prahlada Desha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Namaste Narasimha Prahlada Lada Daine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatankana Kalai Vagishayasya Vadane Lakshmiresya Chavakshasya Yasya Hridaye Samritam Nrisimha Maham Bhaje Ito Nrisimha Parad Nrisimha Yato Yato Mitato Nrisimha Vahir Nrisimha Hridaya Nrisimha Nrisimha Madhim Sharanam Prapadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome. First of all, my unlimited Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev, Nitya Prishtam Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shiksha Gurudeva Sam Vishnupada Stotra Sata Shimad Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj Shrimati Krishna Priyata Purani Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, lotus feet of Shri Bhagavan Nrisimhadev, whose charitra, whose story was speaking today, hearing today, Shri Prahlada Maharaj, the best of devotees, also the devotees and guests here in San Juan, in Rajesha's house, as well as those who are watching us online and recording Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So, the day before yesterday, we heard the story of Lord Varahadev, who had killed the demon Hiranyaksha, and his brother Hiranyakashipu was just performing his last rituals when he was defeated, when his dead body was lying on the battlefield. So we stopped at that point. So Prahlada Charitra, the story of Prahlada Maharaj, the story of Sri Nrisimhadeva, is a very special place of Srimad Bhagavatam, because Lord Nrisimhadev is one of the three Paravasta. Paravasta means most important incarnations of the Lord. The first Paravasta is Sri Krishna himself, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the source of all incarnations, Satecham Shakalapumsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Indradi Vyakulam Lokam Redayanti Yuge Yuge. So his incarnations are coming millennium after millennium, but he is the initial source of all. Then the second one is Lord Ramachandra, very, very significant. Hare Krishna. And finally, Lord Nrisimhadev. So Lord Nrisimhadev has a very special importance because, as we already mentioned day before yesterday, he is the incarnation of Chakra. He is the incarnation of the Sudarshana Chakra, the protecting disc of the Lord, always ready to protect his devotees. And we devotees sometimes experience great difficulties in our service. So generally, we know very firmly that the Lord will protect us. And generally, like on daily basis, we don't cry for help. But if some dangerous situation comes, then definitely we'll cry for help. Oh Nrisimhadev, Nrisimhadev, save me. So then Krishna comes in the form of Nrisimhadev, half man, half lion, and protects his devotees. So Prahlada Maharaja, as we heard, was a pure devotee, and therefore he knew the tattva of Krishna, the truth of Krishna. That's that he's saying Matirna Krishna Paradasudava. And his father, the ferocious demon Hiranyakashipu, asked him what was the best he had learned in school. And Prahlada Maharaj said, oh, Matirna Krishna Paradasudava. So he mentioned the name of Krishna. He mentioned the name of Krishna, although undoubtedly he is Nrisimha Bhakta. He is the devotee of Nrisimhadeva. But he mentioned Krishna because he knew the tattva of Krishna. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So Prahlada Maharaj is, he belongs to the category of Jnani Bhakta. Jnani means possessive of transcendental knowledge. What is that knowledge? The knowledge of Bhagavatam means the features of Bhagavan. So he was Vaikuntha Bhakta. Therefore, he was very much Aishwarya Mishra. Very much, his devotion was based upon feeling of awe and reverence. And he knew that the Supreme Lord is Atmaram, Aptakam, that all he's satisfied within himself, all his desires are fulfilled. That's why Srila Gurudev was telling us he didn't even offer a glass of water to Nrisimhadev because the Lord is ever satisfied. So, but when devotees asked Srila Gurudev what kind of bhakta Prahlada Maharaj was, because if he's jnani, means more or less he's shanta. But Gurudev was saying no, not exactly shanta, means neutral relationship. Not like the four Kumaras we heard about the day before yesterday. He was dasya bhakta. Srila Gurudev was stressing that dasya bhakta because there are some more opinions amongst Vaishnavas, but we take the opinion of our Gurudev, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. So he said definitely, in his morning walks, he said, definitely dasya, definitely pure dasya, pure servitude. But that dasya is very much Aishwarya Mai, very much in the mood of Narayan, worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. And normally, the topmost dasya devotee is considered Hanuman, because Hanuman is personification of all kinds of services towards Ramachandra. But Hanuman serves Ramachandra, who is in the two-handed form, is in a human form, so it's more intimacy automatically in that. And although certainly Aishwarya is predominating in Ayodhya, but still not to that extent as in Nrisimhaloka, where Prahlada Maharaj is situated. So, having this in mind, let's hear now the wonderful story of Sri Prahlada Maharaj. So, first of all, when Shukadev Goswami Pad was telling the story, Prahlada Maharaj asked one question. Before, and at the end of 6th canto, the story was told about fights amongst demons and demigods, and as a result, Indra killed the Vritrasura, and the other sons of Diti were divided into 49. It's a long story, but anyway, the sons of Diti, the demons, were killed. So while listening to all that narration, Prahlada Maharaj, Parikshat Maharaj asked, it seems to be that, the Supreme Lord experiences some partiality in this. Isn't it that the Supreme Lord is really partial? Well, the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, and in many, many places it's stated, starting from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says in the 9th chapter, Samoham sarvabhuteshu named veshyasti na priyaha yabhajanti tumam bhaktya maitateshu chapyaham. So I'm not partial to anyone. Also, I'm not experiencing any aversion to anyone. I'm equally disposed to everyone. So, but whoever is serving me with great love and affection, then he is within my heart, and I'm his greatest friend in his heart. So this loving relation is always there. So this is kind of achintya. This is inconceivable. So then Shukadeva Goswami answered this question. He said that, well, actually, there are demigods and there are demons. And Krishna actually father of all. Father of all. They're actually like cousin brothers, demons and demigods. So periodically there were fights against them. And Krishna always was the demigods. So the demons were pointing the fingers, aha, you're partial. But actually he is not. Why? Because naturally demons are in the mode of darkness. And naturally devotees, like demigods are in the mode of goodness. So mode of goodness is more, how to say, bright, more disposing towards loving relationship in a natural way. So how to say, demons, although they're dear to the Lord, undoubtedly, as being pure spirit souls, by their behavior, which is motivated by the mode of darkness, they distance themselves from the Lord naturally by their own activities. So this first distinction is within the goodness. So by their own activities, they achieve those respective results. But on the other hand, the sun is shining everywhere. The sun shines upon the desert, shines upon the waters of the ocean, and also the water in the puddle and the dirt. Also, the sun dries up. So there's no special distinction, but yet we see in the history everywhere the Lord is disposed towards devotees. That is also a fact. So then Shukadeva Goswami remembered the sacrifice of Maharaj Yudhishthira, in which, as you remember, Shishupala was very much against the fact that Krishna had been chosen the most significant figure in the assembly. So he stood up and he started blaspheming Krishna. And finally, in front of everyone, Krishna, when the amount of his offenses was counting 100, immediately took his chakra and severed Shishupala's head. So then the soul of Shishupala melted into the body of Krishna. So everybody was mesmerized. What is going on? And Maharaj Yudhishthira was especially surprised because he said, oh, dear Narada, he asked Narada Muni who was there, dear Narada, dear sage, please tell me, Shishupala was blaspheming Krishna all of his life. When Shishupala was born, he was four-handed naturally, somehow or other, by providence. And then everybody was lamenting, oh, four-handed child, what, how to say, in discrepancy kind of. So then the voice from the sky said, no, when his killer comes, then two hands out of four will fall. So then Krishna came. Krishna was sort of his relative, like a far relative. So when Krishna came, immediately the two extra hands of Shishupala fell off. And the voice from the sky said, oh, when this child makes 100 offenses of Krishna in one blow, in one go, then he will be killed. Otherwise, he will not be killed. So then the mother of Shishupala was asking Krishna, oh, Krishna, please, let him live for some time. And okay, Krishna said, all right, let him live. So he lived enough. He was quite a prominent king, the king of Chaidyaraj. And as soon as he was very small, immediately he started offending Krishna. He was not even remembering, his food, his water, and other things. Oh, Krishna is like that. Krishna is like that. Krishna is blaspheming. So then, when Krishna was the sacrifice, then he was counting his offenses. 95, 96, 8, 99, 100. So the hundreds of offense was pronounced, and immediately his head was severed. So then Maharaj Parikshit heard from Shukadeva Goswami the words from Narada Muni been told to Maharaj Yudhishthira that, oh, even those who are not devotees, if they are meditating on Krishna with concentrated attention, they may achieve same results. Kamad Vishad Bayat Snehat Yata Bhatyashvare Manaha Aveshyata Agam Hitva Pavastad Tim Gataha. So, what to speak of Vaidya Bhakti? In Vaidya Bhakti, in regulated devotional service, we can achieve many results. But many persons attain their respective results through lust, like gopis attain through transcendental lust, through transcendental loving affection. That's one thing. Certainly Kubja was having another type of affection, which was more a type of lust. So anyway, she achieved her desire. Then Kama Dveshat, through hatred, through Bayat, through fear, through Snehat, through loving affection, and through Bhakti, so through loving devotion. So many types. So who achieved through whom? Through which type? Gopya Kamat Bayat Kamso Dveshat Chaitya Dayom Ripaha Sambandhan Vrishna Snehat Yom Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. The gopis achieved perfection by their conjugal desires for Krishna, and Pandavas by affectionate family relationship. And so there are many ways. And only if somebody really hates Krishna too much, like King Venu, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that in that case it is not possible to achieve perfection. But even like Kamsa, even like Shishupala, see, they achieved perfection. So most of the demons, they were saved by Krishna because he had given them the Sayuja Mukti. They melted into Krishna's transcendental body. But regarding these two, Shishupala and his brother Dantavakra, they received Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya means they came into the spiritual existence of Krishna, and they achieved spiritual bodies in Vaikuntha. Because they had been, you remember, from day before yesterday, there were two gods of Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay. So that is why in this narration, they just, after returning, after the third birth to spiritual world, they regained their spiritual bodies as Jai and Vijay, the gods of Vaikuntha. So first they came, you remember, as Hiranyakashipu and his brother, junior brother Hiranyaksha. Then they came as Ravana and Kumbhakarna in Ramalila, and the third incarnation here, Shishupala and Dantavakra. So then after this, Shukadeva Goswami told Maharaja Parikshit this story we already heard, how it happened, and how those two gods became demons for 3 times in the material world. So then Hiranyakashipu was observing the dead body of his brother Hiranyaksha. And his wives, many of his wives, they were standing there. And they were crying so bitterly. Yeah. So Hiranyakashipu was very angry. He displayed his sharp teeth, fierce glance, and he spoke to the demons. He said, "O Danavas Daityas, kindly hear me with attention and then act accordingly, without delay." So the demigods, they killed Lord Vishnu. He killed my brother with the help of the demigods. So then you should go down to the earth now and destroy Brahminical culture. You have to put the end to all the righteous Kshatriya governments. You have to destroy all the symptoms of Vedic culture, destroy all the arenas of fire sacrifices, because Vishnu is like the root of the tree. So when you cut the tree, then the roots will not bear any leaves and any fruit. So you have to destroy all the Brahminical culture. You have to stop the sacrifices for Vishnu, because when the sacrifices stop, then Vishnu will become very weak. So then Hiranyakashipu gave those orders, and meanwhile he came up to the aggrieved wives of Hiranyaksha, and he started speaking to them. Srila Gurudev was asking us rhetorically, who was Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyakashipu was the worst of the demons. He was the greatest demon in the history of this planet, actually. In the history, he was the greatest, even greater than Kamsa. Now, why we're all here? But was he a theist or an atheist? What do you think? Was he theist or atheist? He was a theist, undoubtedly. He was a theist. Because he knew about Vishnu, he recognized the personality of Vishnu, and he knew also the Vedas, the writings of Vishnu, very well, as we all now hear. But the only mistake was, the fundamental mistake, that he was very envious toward Vishnu. He was very envious, and he wanted to take position of Vishnu, which is not possible, but anyway, he had a really good try, and he achieved a lot, but he could not achieve everything, obviously. So now, he started speaking to the wives, to the aggrieved wives of Hiranyaksha demon. Yeah. So he said, oh, the souls meet and separate in this world. The soul has no death, we're eternal. He knew that. He knew all those things. So we meet temporarily, but this material body is perishable, and we meet as relatives, as friends, and then we separate, and everything comes to an end. But living entity in bewildered state is thinking that these relatives are his very close friends. So, O wives of my deceased brother, please listen to the story of King Suyagya. There was one king, his name was Suyagya, and he lived in the kingdom of Oshinara. He was very powerful in battle, but one time, unfortunately, he was killed on the battlefield. So he fell on the ground with his golden decorations scattered, his helmet scattered, and his chest pierced with a multitude of arrows. So then King Suyagya's queens were standing around the dead body, and they cried, "Oh Lord, now you have been killed. You have left us alone, and we're like Kurari birds, we're crying without our master." So then their cries were so grievous that even Yamaraj in Yamaloka heard the cries of the wives of Suyagya. So he came on the scene as a little boy, as if nothing happened. Like about 5-year-old boy, he came. Oh, how amazing it is! Just look, these people are older than me, and they're crying like small children. They're crying because this body is now lying down, and they're thinking that this body is their husband. So, but how come they forget that the Supreme Lord protects everyone in this world? So, oh, weak women, don't you remember that everyone in this world is under the protection of the Supreme Lord? So we're like marionettes, and the Supreme Lord is supporting us. The Supreme Lord is making us meet and separate with each other, from each other. So according to our fruitive work, we're receiving our bodies, we meet and we separated. So that is the situation. Can you turn off that? It doesn't go good. Okay. Thank you. No, turn off. Turn off. This one off. Off. Okay, so how foolish you are. Foolish ladies, you're crying about the body of your husband. Your husband is just right in front of you. This is his body. So why don't you establish relationship with him? Oh, it's not possible, because something essential has left, and that is the soul. So let me tell you a story. Yamaraj, in the form of small child, told them. So this is a story within a story within a story. Another story about the two birds, Kulinga. The two Kulinga birds were playing very wonderfully, but one time a cruel hunter came, and the cruel hunter shot an arrow, and he shot a she-bird, Kulinga. So imagine how painful that was for the he-bird, for her husband. So she started crying, "Oh destiny, you're so cruel. You're taking away my dear wife. So my dear little birdies will be without mother, and they are now also in deathly danger." So then finally, the cruel hunter shot the he-bird Kulinga. So the little boy Yamaraj told this story, and see how foolish you are. Yeah. Even if you lament for your husband for hundreds of years, you will never be able to return him. So everybody was so much astonished to hear the words of Yamaraj, such a small child, and he speaks those things. So then they understood the import of the instructions of Yamaraj, that we're not really these bodies, and the death cannot be stopped. This is like a constant change of birth and death cannot be stopped. So there's no reason to lament for one's relatives, the deceased relatives. So then finally, they were appeased, and then Hiranyakashipu made a very, very important step, as we heard. He went to meditate and to pray for the Creator, to Lord Brahma. He went to the Mount Mandara. Mandara is a great, great mountain which is just adjacent to Mount Meru. So Mount Meru is the golden mountain which is in the center of the universe, and somewhere in the vicinity there's Mount Mandara. So he was standing in a valley of Mount Mandara, and he had a desire to become immortal and inconquerable. So he was praying to Brahma because he was thinking that Brahma is the supreme controller, and if Brahma gives him benedictions, then he will be really, really immortal. So he started meditating. He stood motionless upon his tiptoes, and he extended his arms upwards, and his eyes directed towards the sky, like this. He was standing, glancing up for a long, long, long time, 100,000 years. Yeah, that was Satya Yuga, so you can imagine how long that was. And then those austerities of Hiranyakashipu had the immediate result. Immediately his head became like a burning rod, so emanating huge, huge heat and fire like this. So all the universe became disturbed. All the demigods, they lost their composure, and they were very, very fearful. So the smoke spread in all directions, and everything became really red hot in all the universe. So demigods became disturbed in their residences. Everything started shaking, and smoke was everywhere. So finally, everybody approached Lord Brahma. Such and such thing is going on. O Master of the universe, please help us. So please kindly stop Hiranyakashipu's austerities. And Brahma, knowing that those austerities of Hiranyakashipu were meant to attract his attention, on his swan carrier immediately appeared in that spot, the Mandara mountain. And in the meantime, the demon was thinking, Hiranyakashipu was thinking, oh, that Brahma, he was performing austerities, and that's why he attained his position. So I have to perform my austerities, and I can become not worse than Lord Brahma, as he was thinking. Then immediately, Hiranyakashipu was meditating so long that his body was completely eaten by the termites, the huge ants. And his body was completely covered with a termite house. Like in Australia, we saw great termite houses like this. So an anthill, you can say, but rather like a termite house. So it was not really seen. But inside, his body was just like a skeleton, actually, because the termites had eaten his flesh, his everything inside, and his blood also. He was fleshless, bloodless, but that was Satya Yuga, we should not forget, because in Satya Yuga, the life force of man is within the bones. So within the bones was the life force of Hiranyakashipu. Now we need to eat, and the life force is within the grains. If we don't eat, then we'll become weak. As 2 Ekadashi fasts yesterday and 3 days before, we were quite weak. Yes, so the life force of Hiranyakashipu was within his bones. That's why he was sustaining his life, and he fully controlled his breathing. So he was holding on that. So when Brahma noticed that place, he couldn't even see Hiranyakashipu because he saw a gigantic anthill. And finally, when he looked into it, then he noticed the great son of Kashyapa, the Brahman Hiranyakashipu, and O son of Kashyapa, please get up. Let there be all good fortune for you. I'm very astonished to see your endurance. So you have tolerated so much torture from the worms and the ants. So now, even the great sages like Brigu could not perform such austerities. So I'm just surprised to see your heroism. So you could sustain your life for so long even without drinking water, fully controlled your breath. So then Brahma took his kamandalu, and from his washing pot, he took some water and sprinkled over Hiranyakashipu. So immediately Hiranyakashipu stood before Lord Brahma with a very powerful, golden, strong body, shining like molten gold, very, very strong, beautiful, attractive, young. Yeah, so he was fully rejuvenated. So Brahma stationed before this Hiranyakashipu, this swan carrier, and then, what do you want? Asked him. And Hiranyakashipu said, oh, please make me immortal, please make me immortal. Oh, very unfortunately, I'm mortal myself, Brahma said. I'm mortal myself, because, the life of Brahma is very, very long. 1 day of Brahma equals to 8,640,000,000 years. That's 1 day and night, multiplied by 360. That's 1 year, and hundreds of such years Brahma lives. But even after that lifespan, he has to leave his body. So in the case, Brahma is Jiva. So then, I cannot make you immortal, very unfortunately. So then, Hiranyakashipu said, then please fulfill the following condition. Oh my Lord, please let me not meet with death at the hands of any of the living entities created by you. Grant that I may not die within any residence, not outside of any residence, during the daytime or the night. So all conditions were mentioned. Okay, residence, daytime, without any month of the year. Let me not die. On the ground or in the sky. Let me not be killed by any being created by someone other than you. So Brahma would not kill him. And so other than you, nobody should kill him, any created being. So no living entities, no presiding deities, and give me the mystic powers attained by the practice of yoga and austerities. So tatastu, O Daitya, O son of Diti, let your desire be fulfilled. Then Lord Brahma fulfilled the desire of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu started ruling the universe. You know the meaning of the name Hiranyakashipu? Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means soft bed. That's what demons are fond of. Gold and sex life, basically. So that's why he became fully intoxicated with the luxurious lifestyle. He was always drunk on the various liquors. His eyes were rolling, always red. He was having huge amount of celestial ladies serving him as his wives. And he conquered the throne of Indra. He threw out Indra, and he became like Indra. So all those prayers, they demigods were offering, and the humans were offering to the demigods, were now going to Hiranyakashipu. So it before was Indraya Swaha, now was Hiranyakashipu Swaha, Si Bhagavat Hiranyakashipu Ki Jai. All those prayers were dedicated to Hiranyakashipu. He was so powerful, imagine, he was able even to change the laws of karma. The laws of karma even changed. So, up to the opposite. So normally, if one performs pious acts, then one goes to heaven, to paradise, and enjoys life there. And if one performs nefarious activities, then one goes to hell and suffers there. But at the time of Hiranyakashipu's rule, everything became the opposite. The pious souls who were trying to perform some yagyas, some bhajan, they were going to hell. And those who were glorifying only Hiranyakashipu and enjoying life, they were going to heaven, to paradise, to join his master there, their master there. So Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Apsaras, even Narada Muni was worshipping Nrisimhadeva. You imagine that, glorifying. So then Hiranyakashipu single-handedly managed all the universe. He didn't need any Indra, Vayu, Agni. He was all in all, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega. Everything was Hiranyakashipu. So proud by his opulence, Hiranyakashipu passed a very long time transgressing the principle of religion at every step. So then the demigods became very, very fearful and they approached the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord were very much disturbed. So so many people became like demons. They're envious towards Vedic culture. They're envious towards you, and they all worship Hiranyakashipu. And the Supreme Lord said, "Don't worry, everything will be all right very soon." So Hiranyakashipu had 4 sons, and the best of them was Prahlad. So all the 4 sons were having Hlada in the root of the names. Ahlada, one was Ahlada, then another one, some other Hlada, then Prahlada. So what does Prahlada mean? Prahlada means Prasannatma. Prasannatma means always joyful. So Prahlada was always joyful in the service of the Lord. You can ask, in the family of such a demon, why did such great personality was born? Well, there's several answers for that, but we'll hear Prahlad's story a bit later. So Hiranyakashipu gave his son Prahlad to the school of Shukracharya, his guru. Shukracharya was the guru of the demons. Shukra means semen. So in the demoniac dynasties, the principle of giving spiritual knowledge down the line is according to only seminal relationship. Means the father gives to the son like this. So in many so-called sampradayas nowadays, the principle is prevailing. But actually, it's a false principle. So Shukracharya had 2 sons, Shanda and Amarka. So Shanda means bull, and Amarka means darkness. Those were their names. So they were teaching Prahlad in the school of the demons, the demoniac disciplines, politics, economics, Rajaniti, how to rule, how to divide, how to punish, how to achieve control over everyone, and how to divide wealth, how to be the ruler, how to be successful, like this. So Prahlad was very humbly listening to those things, but not taking them into the heart. Very, very formally, he was receiving that education. But in his heart, he was meditating upon his Lord Nrisimhadeva, Lord Narayan. So he received transcendental knowledge in the womb by Narada, but we'll hear the story a bit later. So anyway, one day, the demoniac father of Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu, received his son very fondly. His mother prepared Prahlad by bathing him, and after staying with his gurus in Gurukula for a certain time, He was back in the court of his father, King Hiranyakashipu, and his father very, very gently put him on his lap, smelled his hair, and said, "Oh, dear son, Prahlad, please tell me, what is the most important knowledge you have heard in your school?" And Prahlada Maharaj said the words which were so amazing for Hiranyakashipu to hear. Prahlad said, "Tat sadhu manye suravarya dehinam sada sadmudvigna diyam asadgrahat hitvatma patam grihamanda kupam vanam gato yadharima shrayeta." So tat sadhu manye, according to the conclusions of the great personalities, Suryavarya Dehinam. Oh, Prahlad was never calling his father dad, father. He was calling Suravarya, best of the asuras, best of the demons. The person who has accepted this temporary body as real and temporary world is real is embarrassed by anxiety, certainly. And such a person has fallen into the dark well of material existence. Hitvanta patam griham andapupam. Great well of material existence. What is that well of material existence? Once there was a man who was running away from the tiger in the forest. The tiger was closer and closer to the man. The man was running away, and he was looking left and right, where to hide, where to hide, where to hide. And finally the man came across the old well, old abandoned well in the ground, in the surface of the earth. And he dug a little bit and he saw, oh, there's a hole and there's a well. So he got in there. Okay, I've hidden from the tiger. Because he was holding on the two branches, which were actually the roots of that tree, which was growing next to the well. And he was suspended like this, balancing on those two roots. But all of a sudden he heard some hissing. There are some snakes on the bottom of the well. Oh, such a dangerous situation. Then tiger came there and started roaring, having noticed the man. Oh, tiger is roaring. And the two rats, the snakes, and then the branches also, they were a bit old and, about to be broken. And moreover, the two rats, they came and started gnawing the two roots of the tree he was balancing on, holding upon them. And he was hanging there for a long time and became very hungry, but he heard some buzzing of some bees on the tree. Oh yeah, there's some bees on this beehive. And from the beehive, drops of honey are dripping down. Oh, what a fortune, what a fortune. Oh, I can relish some nectar now. I can relish some nectar. Oh, the nectar is falling and try to catch. Oh, no, too far. Oh, too close. Oh, on the nose, on the beard. No, this time I'll really succeed. Yes. What a nectar. What a nectar. So the person was happy, So this is the dark well of material existence. This is material happiness, so-called. This is very important teaching Prahlada Maharaj is giving here. What is the dark well of material existence? So the tiger symbolizes death. Everybody is escaping death. These people, I will now start the carnival again as yesterday night. They're celebrating the night. And they're trying to hide from death, by forgetting themselves, alcohol and other things. So, but there are problems, and those problems are hissing. They're hissing, and the person is about to fall down. If he lets go, then he falls down into the snake residence, on the bottom. So then he's holding on those two roots, and trying to enjoy life, basically. But he's seeing that the rats one rat is black and one rat is white. So they're gnawing those roots, and those results of one's activities. Some good results, some bad results, and bad, actually, two roots, so good and bad results. And the two rats are gnawing them. So the black rat is the night and the white rat is the day. So days and nights are coming and stealing our lifetime and stealing our good credit of pious activities. So the death is very near. But, we have to sustain ourselves. There must be some enjoyment in this world after all, isn't it? So what is that enjoyment? That is the honey. That is the honey. And for honey, you have to pay with money. So money is even brighter than honey, sweeter than honey. So anyway, so exchange your money for honey, then you have your enjoyment for TikTok, 1 hour, okay, bam, time is over. Time over, you have to pay. Okay, so that is the material life. So Prahlada Maharaja is saying, Hidvatma patam grihamanda kupam. So those persons who are identifying themselves with the body and who have fallen into that blind well of material existence, in order to achieve the best out of that bargain, as the English saying goes, they have to go to Vana. Vana means the forest. And the forest is what? Vrindavana, Vrinda's forest, the great forest of Vrindavan, where all our acharyas are residing, our Gurudevs. And we have good fortune to be residing there with them also. Very, very great fortune. So Vanam Gadoyat Hari Mashtrayata. You have to take shelter of Hari, the Supreme Lord. So when when Hiranyakashipu heard that, he said, he was smiling. See how the agents of the enemy are spoiling the intelligence of the innocent child. So he summoned the two sons of Shukracharya, Shanda and Amarka. Hey, you Brahmanas, are you watching my son carefully? Have you seen if he has been affected by who has come in some garb of some teacher or whatever, agent of the demigods? He taught him some devotional service to Vishnu, our enemy. You have to be very alert. You have to be guarding my son carefully. So our master, we don't know how it happened. They were quite perturbed. Why did it happen? So then Hiranyakashipu sent him to school again. And again his teachers, Chanda Amarka, started teaching him politics, economics, how to fight, how to rule, Rajaniti, the king's policies, and all those things. So then, when the boy came back to the father, again his mother carefully prepared his hair, smeared with some aromatic oils. Again, his father put him on the lap, and again asked the same question. Oh, Prahlad, please tell me, what is the best you have learned in your school? Then Prahlada Maharaj shocked his father with another answer, which was even more devastating for Hiranyakashipu. Shri Prahlada Uvacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyamatma Nivedanam Itipum Sarpita Vishnu Bhaktischenna Valakshana Kriyata Bhagavad Yadha Tanmanye Dhiramuttamam. Prahlad mentioned the ninefold devotional service. Shravanam, hearing about the Lord. Kirtanam, chanting his name, chanting his glories. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, remembering about him. Pada Sevanam, serving his lotus feet. Archanam, performing deity worship. Vandanam, offering prayers. Dasyam, serving. Sakyam, establishing friendly relationship. And Atmanivedanam, giving your soul completely. These 9 have to be done pum sarpita, only by dedicating yourself completely in Sharanagati process. Accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable. So recognizing Krishna as one's protector and maintainer, always being humble and always giving your soul to Bhagavan. That is Atmanivedana. Vishnu in dual case. It means Vishaya Bhagavan means the enjoyer, Krishna, and also Ashraya Bhagavan means the abode of bhakti. Krishna himself as the great flute player, as the great enjoyer, the son of Nanda Yashoda, cannot give bhakti because he is too absorbed in his pastimes. But he sends Sri Guru, not sends, he comes personally in the form of Sri Guru. So that is Ashraya Bhagavan. So in that way, Jiva should take shelter of Ashraya Bhagavan, the abode of bhakti, abode of prema in the form of Sri Guru, and then definitely the success will be there. Is Shanda, you unqualified most abominable son of Brahmana, you have disregarded my orders and sided with the enemy. You must be a spy, you must be a betrayer, you must have taken the side of Vishnu's servants. Why have you helped my son to be taught by the enemy? Oh. So, like this, O king, whenever your son Prahlada said is not taught by anyone else, we give you the word of honor, word of brahmanas. We don't know where he has taken this knowledge of devotional service from. So, Hiranyakashipu again turned to Prahlada and said, you rascal, you're the most fallen member of our family. If you don't deceive, if you not receive this education from your teachers, then where have you gotten it from? Where? Tell me. And then, in the form of answering this question, Prahlada Maharaj uttered the 3 verses. And these 3 verses made Hiranyakashipu just enraged, because these 3 verses are completely classical verses glorifying the devotional service to Krishna and speaking about the pitiful position of those demons, those people averse to devotional service, averse to Krishna. Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mitho Vipadyeta Griha Vratanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamistram Puna Punashchirvita Charvananam. That is the destiny of those who are averse to devotional service. Materialistic persons only are doing the process of Charvita Charvananam, means chewing of the chewed. Charvita Charvananam, chewing of the chewed. Like a camel. A camel chews his chewing gum. His chewing gum is made of his saliva. But actually he thinks that chewing gum is very tasty, because he had been chewing thorny bushes. Such a unforgettable taste, but actually taste of his own blood, because his tongue is wounded against those thorns. So the stupid camel is thinking that that's the juice of the thorns. So that is what is going on. People lose their consciousness, people lose their, piety, people lose their purity by drinking alcohol all the time, and that is the joy of life, joy of life, joy of life. Huge money is received for that. Anyway, that we can see the context. Now it will start. We have to stop by 7 o'clock and have 12 minutes because it will start very soon. So that's what Prahlada Maharaj is saying about them. So he's saying about Father. This is strong preaching. So Father is saying, oh, what? He's in shock. He's just in shock. So the intelligence of such materially attached persons cannot be turned towards Bhagavan, either by their own endeavor, by instruction of others, or by the combination of both. This Griha Vrata, they have taken the Vrata, they have taken the vow to live material life. That's a Vrata. We're devotees of Krishna, we've taken another Vrata, to serve Krishna, to serve Bhagavan always. That is our Vrata. But their Vrata, no, I'll be materialist. So, as a result, chewing of the chewed and enjoying the juice of the thorny bush. So, Nate vidu svatagatim hi vishnum dorashaya bahiratamanina andaya thandar upaniyamana stepi shatantriam urudam nibaddha. So, those persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life do not know the ultimate goal is Krishna Bhakti. Therefore, they accept that the leader or guru is simply a blind man attached to external sense object, and they don't understand the goal of life. So they're following the blind, following the blind, and going towards the ditch. Everybody follows. So those false gurus like Shankar, Chanda, and Amarka are like this. Not necessarily the so-called spiritualists. They can be politicians, they can be, I don't know, mystics, they can be all type of people, or gurus, and who receive huge money for their being gurus, like business guru, the success gurus, the this, the that, So just recently Googled one thing, that there's one new generator who is the great competitor to Google. So anyway, so just a few months old. So I went there and okay, what does it write about? It gives answer in the form of dialogue, at once it tells you the answer immediately. So I dialed, self-realization. And then aggregate, just give you self-realization in all different contexts, like psychology, like there is no single path of self-realization. There are many paths of self-realization. For example, this and this and that. So each of these so-called paths of self-realization have a certain guru, false guru, like Shanda or Amarka. So they just fall into ditch, starting from the gurus. Naisham matista vaduru kramangrim sprishatyanam kadamo yadantam Mahiya sampadarajo bhishekam nishkinchananam vrinita yavat. Here Prahlada Maharaja is giving a very, very powerful positive idea what to do. So what to do? To find a Sadguru, to find a Sadhu, to find a pure devotee. Persons who are materially attached are absorbed in bodily identification, who fail to understand the necessity to free themselves from materialistic and do not smear themselves with the holy foot dust of great devotees, who are fully detached from sense enjoyment. For such persons, there is no possibility that a consciousness can touch the glories of Urukrama Krishna's lotus feet. So, actually, again, negative idea, but within this negative idea, there's positive. You have to bathe yourself in the lotus foot dust of pure devotee. What's that? Pada Rajabhishekam. Perform this process of taking foot dust at the lotus feet of pure devotee. So that is the positive idea. Hey, Father, you have to, before his thoughts of such a pure devotee, so the father, Hiranyakashipu, became completely enraged, Then he became practically blind with rage, and he violently threw his son off his lap. Get out of my lap. Take this boy away and kill him as soon as possible, he told his servants. So, as far as, in that same way as the part of the body which was inflicted with some disease like cholera or whatever, gangrene, has to be amputated. So in that same way, this Prahlad has to be capitalized, has to be killed. So the Rakshasa servants of Hiranyakashipu started torturing Prahlad in different ways. They were throwing him from the peaks of the mountains. They were giving them to snake pits, and the snakes were not biting him. When they were throwing him from the mountain, he was becoming like a feather, Lord Vishnu was supporting his pure devotee. They were giving him to the elephants so that they can trumpet Prahlad, but the elephants were trumpeting, saluting Prahlad, like this. Yes, and the tigers were licking his body instead of tearing him apart. Then Hiranyakashipu decided, okay, my sister Holika has one mystic power, she cannot be burned in the fire. So I'll make her take Prahlad in the fire, and Prahlad will burn in the fire, and Holika will be intact. So Holika entered the fire and said to Prahlad, hey, Prahlad, my darling, come, join me in the fire. And Prahlad went, very, very humbly, he went to his auntie, and then the Lord made it in such a way that Holika lost her power, and all the power of Holika came to Prahlad. And as a result, Holika was burned to ashes and Prahlad was intact. So we celebrate Holi, so just before Holi, they burn the great doll of Holika. So that's in the commemoration of Holikas being burned. So in that way, Prahlad was surviving. He was not able to be killed by any weapons. So then Hiranyakashipu was very morose. So he approached Shandayamarka again. And what to do? So they said, oh, our Lord, please listen to us. You can control all the world by moving of your arrows. So Prahlad is nothing but a child. He's like just a naughty child, and good and bad qualities within him may not be very significant yet. So just keep him locked for some time. We'll again educate him nicely. And when he grows up, and the natural way of his foolishness will leave him, and he will become your true son. So then Prahlad smiled, and anyway, he had to join the school again. Once again, very, very accepting all those disciplines. But one day, Namarka had to go somewhere. So Prahlad was together with his sons, the sons of the demons. And as soon as the teachers left, Prahlad immediately started preaching to them, pure devotional service, as Prabhu was mentioning that verse, Kaumara charit prabhyo dharman bhagavatam iha durlabam manusham janma tadapyadurvam arthadam. Oh my dear friends, son of the demons, this human body is very rare. So immediately, Kaumaram, from the age of 5 years or more, you have to immediately take up devotional service. You have to be engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Swalanam, worshipping of Vishnu. Guru Sushrushaya Bhaktya Sarvala Bhadana Cha Sangyana Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvara Dhananena Cha. So you have to take shelter of Sri Guru's lotus feet, and you have to be in the Sangha, in the association of pure devotees. You have to serve the pure devotees, unconditionally surrendered to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, engaging your body, mind, and senses in the service of Sri Guru. So he was teaching his school friends. Also, he was telling them about the soul, about the nature of this world, about the three modes of material nature, all those basic elements of knowledge he gave them. And then the boys asked, oh, Prahlad, where have you learned that? Our teachers haven't taught us any of these. Then Prahlad said, when my father, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, was performing his austerities, then he was, for 100,000 years, not aware of the affairs of his kingdom. So that allowed the demigods to conquer his kingdom and take captive of his ministers and also his wife. So when his wife, Kayadu, Prahlad's mother, was captive, then the demigods wanted to kill her because in her womb there was an embryo. So they wanted to kill Prahlad, but Narada stopped him. No, stop. Within the womb of Kayadu, there's a great devotee, Prahlad. So then Narada Muni started preaching to Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad. So together with his mother, Prahlad, who then was embryo in her womb, he all those teachings of Narada. Many teachings Prahlad gave to his school friends. Actually, they became devotees. All of them became devotees, and all of them were no longer demons, although sons of demons were no longer demons. So they started chanting, and then when Hiranyakashipu knew about that, and we remember those great drama plays, Srila Gurudev's Sangha, when the sannyasis were playing, one sannyasi was playing Prahlad, one sannyasi was playing Hiranyakashipu, and I remember the Madhar Maharaj was playing Hiranyakashipu, Shravati Maharaj was playing big Nrisimhadeva, and those drama plays were there. So once Ashram Maharaj was Hiranyakashipu, and said, stop it, So that, Hiranyakashipu took that as a very serious personal humiliation from his son Prahlad. That was he received checkmate on his own board, on his territory. He received a checkmate from his own son, So he had been calling his son as a thorn amongst the sandal trees. So he just was very, very, very upset by his son, like words really fail me to say. And what condition of wrath Hiranyakashipu found himself. So then finally, "You rascal," he said, Hiranyakashipu, "you are trying to minimize my value. You are trying to cheat me in such a way, in such an obnoxious way, in my own territory. No, I will kill you with my own hands. I will kill you with my own hands." So where is the source? Where is the source of your knowledge? Where is the source of that force you received this knowledge from? Oh, my father, the source of that knowledge, the source of that force is the same as your force, as your living force. So you receive your energy from the same source. That is the Supreme Lord. Oh, you're speaking so much nonsense, and you see that your Lord is everywhere. So, and Prahlad was just, he noticed his Ishtadev, Bhagavan Nrisimhadev, within a pillar. So within a pillar, he took a darshan of Nrisimhadev. So his father was shouting at him, but Prahlada Maharaj was not taking heed. He was just immersed in the darshan of his Ishtadev, you know. So he was observing his Ishtadev in the pillar, and then his father, Hiranyakashipu, noticed, oh, he's looking at the pillar. So, what? Your Vishnu, your Lord, is there on the pillar also? Where is he? Where is he? Prahlad was just silent. And Hiranyakashipu took his sword and he was trying to smash the pillow. So, with smashing the pillows on, a very, very, very ferocious rolling sound was heard. Ah, great, great, great roaring, great roaring. And then Hiranyakashipu saw that very, very uncommon, unusual creature, half man, half lion, you know, standing, not really standing or sitting, and not in the water, not inside, not outside, not in the daytime, not at night. It was dusk time, like about when we break Ekadashi fast in Nrisimha Chaturdashi in May. That's about like 7 o'clock, whatever, 6 o'clock, dusk. So that was none of the existent months of the year. That was the month of Purushottam. This year it will be in July. Then neither there was Lord Nrisimhadev was not an animal, not a human, not a demigod, not an aquatic, not any of the created beings, you know. So all the conditions were fulfilled by Brahma. So then he was very, 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 very ferocious. He was rolling, he was roaring, he was roaring. So Hiranyakashipu was having a mystic power to be able to fly, so he started flying around and he was trying to attack the mysterious creature, Lord Nrisimhadev, with his sword. So, but Lord Nrisimhadev was playing with him like a lion is playing with a mouse, like this. So finally, Lord Nrisimhadev put him on his lap, and Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamatuta Stringam. Can you sing? Dalita Hiran, take mic. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanamrindam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Take cartels, please join me. Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakamatuta Stringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanamrindam Keshavadrita Rupa Jai Jagadisha Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Namaste Nrisimhaya Namaste Nrisimhaya Prahlada You sing, Nrisimhadeva ki jai. Tavakara kamala varena kama duta sringam dalita hiranyakashipu dana bringam. Usually a wasp breaks through the lotus and tears the lotus apart. But the lotus nails of Lord Nrisimhadeva toward Hiranyakashipu, who was like a wasp apart. So the lotus and the wasp changed their roles this time. So the lotus like nails of Lord Nrisimhadeva toward wasp like. Hiranyakashipu was so, Lord Nrisimhadeva was so ugra, so much ferocious. No one in the universe could stop him. No one, neither Brahma, neither Lord Shiva, no Narada, neither even Lakshmi Devi, his wife. Nobody could stop. So Brahma and other demigods, they asked Prahlad, you please appease him by prayers. So Prahlada Maharaja started offering prayers. Very, very wonderful prayers. So many of them already we heard something in the beginning. But he said, Kvam Raja Prabhavaishatamodhikesmin Jata Sureta Rakuresva Kulesva Tavan Kampa Na Brahmanata na Bhavasya na Vai Ramaya Nanmer Pitashirasi Padmakara Prasada. Oh my Lord, I was born in a family of demons, and therefore hellish material qualities of passion and ignorance are so much typical for me. So what is my position? So your causeless mercy cannot be obtained even by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. And you put your lotus feet on their heads, but you never put your lotus feet on lotus feet of mine. So what is my fortune? What is really? And so Prahlada Maharaja was so humble. And then finally, the Lord asked for benediction for Prahlad. So, oh, what benediction? What benediction can I ask from you? You know, I'm just the son of a demon, you know, and you're offering me a deal like to a merchant, but I'm not a merchant. I don't want a business exchange with you. But the Lord was persistent. No, you take benediction, take benediction. Prahlad said, my father, the demoniac king Hiranyakashipu, was so bad that he tortured all the universe. He gave pain to so many great personalities. He corrupted the whole universal order, and he has destroyed the laws of religion all over the universe. So can you please forgive him? Please forgive me. Oh Prahlad, because of your devotion, 21 generations before and after you have already been delivered. So that's what Lord Nrisimhadeva said. 21 generations. In the case of Mahabhagavata present in your dynasty, 14 generations in the case of Madhyama Adhikari Vaishnava, means medium class Vaishnava, and 7 generations in the case of a beginning Vaishnava Kanishta, 7 generations before and after, 7 generations even in the case of a beginning devotee. So we should not be doubtful that this transcendental process of pure devotion will definitely give very, very fast. So then finally, Prahlad asked for benediction for the universe. You know, please give benediction to all the jivas of this universe. So then the Supreme Lord said, Bhavani Purusha Loke Mad Bhaktastvam Anuvrataha Bhavan Me Khalu Bhaktanam Sarvesham Prati Rupa Drik. So Bhagavan Nrisimhadeva said, those who follow your example will naturally become my pure devotees. You are the best example of my devotee, and others should follow in your footsteps. So Srila Gurudev was saying, certainly we want to achieve Vraja Bhakti, the mood of Vrindavan, but first we have to become like Prahlad, like Dhruva, not exactly cultivating the mood of devotion to Lord Narayana in the case of Dhruva, Lord Nrisimhadeva in the case of Prahlad, but the mood, I mean, full surrender to the Lord, perseverance, humility, all those qualities, sharanagati, accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable, always accepting the Lord as one's protector and maintainer. So all those things we have to really, really accept as our qualities of devotion. So the example of Prahlada Maharaj is completely unforgettable, incomparable. So we remember him today. It's a large katha, but today our time is a bit limited because soon sounds will start and we'll sing maybe one last bhajan and then take prasad. And Shri Bhagavan Nrisimhadeva ki jai, Bhakta Pravarshi Prahlada Maharaja ki jai. So tomorrow and day after, the programs will be in the house of Manohar Prabhu, and the subject will be Krishna Lila, great pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, how Krishna was born, how he was playing with his dear associates, how he was killing demons, and revealing so many sweet pastimes. So Shri Bhagavan Nrisimhadeva ki jai, Bhakta Pravarshi Prahlada Maharaja ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So who will sing the last? Anyone wants to sing? Because I don't know, Arati has no details, so maybe someone wants to sing? Huh? Arati, you can do? Outside? Right there. Okay. Okay, so you do Arati? You can do? Or who will do? And you have paraphernalia? Okay, so no paraphernalia, no Arati. So there's bhajan, Radha Madhav Yugala Kishore, but they don't have the text. So anyway, this is the song by Shiksha Guru Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Maharaj. You have some copies of the text? You have a paper? You have more papers for the public? So those who have electronic songbooks, Yugala Giti Gucha, you can open Radha Madhav Yugala Kishore. जल्दी करो हरे कृष्ण जय श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय श्रीमती रानी की राधा माधव जुगल किशोर विहरत वृंदावन में राधा माधव जुगल किशोर विहरत वृंदावन में Radha Madhav Jugala Kishore Viharata Vrindavaname Jugala Kishore Viharata Vrindavaname Lalita Maharaja Lalita Maharaja Lalita Maharaja Lalita Maharaja Rani Viruli Anjo Viharata Vrindavaname Rani Viruli Anjo Viharata Vrindavaname Radha Jugala Kishore Viharata Vrindavaname Radha Jugala Kishore Viharata Vrindavaname Lalita Maharaja Krishnamura Panga Lalita Maharaja Lalita Maharaja Krishnamura Panga महाराज की जय। श्री भगवान नृसिंहदेव की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So, two last programs here in Trinidad. Tomorrow and day after in the house of Shri Manar Prabhu in what's it? Aranguez. I nearly said Aurangzeb. Huh? Where? Where's paraphernalia? You have. Already was sang anyway.